Hello and welcome to this tutorial where we'll be creating a weather application in PHP. I usually record my videos in the night when there is silence everywhere, but I have some free time today, so I'm recording today. So you might hear a little bit of background noises like car honks, what have you. And also, if you're new to my channel, I would like it if you subscribe. I would appreciate that a lot. Okay, so let's begin. Make sure your VS Code and server is already started. As you can see, I have my Apache already booted up. And get your browser and test editor 2 ready. Okay, so inside of my AT docs folder, I'll create a new folder for the PHP file. Let's name this weather, and this will be where our PHP files will go. So I'll just open that up in VS Code, and now let's create a new file. I'll name mine index.php as usual, and then we'll generate a starter code for the HTML, and let's name this weather app. And this weather app will have, let me wrap this in a section. So this will have an input text box and a submit button. Let's create that. So input with the type of text, and let's have another one which is for the submit button. So input type of submit. So the value, you input something like check weather. Okay, so let's take a look at what we just did. So I'll type localhost and then I'll point to the file. And I'll index weather folder, the weather folder, just like this. Okay, I need to save this first. I forgot to do that. So now it will appear. Okay, so this is what we have. Let's add a little description to this by putting an h1 tag here. And let's see. Yeah, I think this looks okay. So the next thing to do is we'll need to work on the functionality, which means whenever we type a city name inside of this input box, we will make use of an API for this. Now, what is an API? An API means application programming interface, and it's a set of protocols, routines, and tools for building software and applications. They are commonly used for web applications where one application, example like a website, can make API calls to another application such as a database to retrieve or manipulate data. So the simple understanding that you need to know about API is, imagine a waiter in a restaurant. You order for something, then the waiter goes to the cook or the kitchen and relays your order. Then the waiter returns with the food you ordered. So API works exactly or similar to that. And in this weather app example, we'll be making good use of weather API to achieve our weather app functionality. And what we'll use is called Open Weather Map API. Let's search for that. So in Google or any search bar, then search for Open Weather Map API or Open Weather Map website. And once it loads up, this is the website, openweathermap.org API. Let's click on it. So this is the website, and it requires you to sign up first. So please do that. It will just take like a minute or two. So you can pause the video and come continue when you're done registering. Alright, so after you're finished registering or signing up, just click on this API tab if you're not on this page already, so that we can be on the same page. Now what we need is right here, historical data, not this, not this, this one, which is current forecast and weather data. That's what we need. So taking a look at the summary, which is this, it says access the current weather data for any location, including over 200,000 cities, blah 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 blah. So let's click on that. Click on the API doc, which stands for documentation, and then it shows an example. So this says API call, and this is the link that was provided. So let's copy and try that out first. If I paste it here, we need to replace the ones in the curly brackets to the respective latitudes and longitudes that we need. So if it's 10.22, then we type that. If it's 3.22, then we type that. But let's rather use the city name. This one is based on latitude and longitude. We don't need that. We rather need the one which is based on city name. Okay. So we need this built-in API request by city name. So let's rather copy that and paste it here. And let's change this to any city. I'll type London, get rid of the curly brackets, and the API key. We need to go get that, and since you have registered, once you click on your name, then locate the my API keys. Okay, so then you have this page open up and you can see your API keys listed here. So if you have none, you can just create the key by typing any name. So if I type weather tutorial and generate that API key, I'll have it right below here. So I'll copy that and then paste it at the end of the URL. So now it's making an API call and it says invalid. Why is that? Okay, let me try the other one. Maybe I just created this, that's why. Okay, so let's try this, and this is working perfectly. So it tells me the weather, the latitude and the longitude of London, and then the weather. The main, it says clear, the description is clear sky, and then we have the icon and other data. This is what we are going to extract into our application. Okay, so let's start. So above the script, I'll start my PHP tag and close it here, and our code goes here. So the first condition we'll set is if the submit button is clicked. So if it's set, post submit. What we want to do, but first let's wrap this in a form tag. So form post, it's on the same page, so let's get rid of this and cut and paste this instead, else it will not work. Okay, now we are saying if the submit button is clicked, the first thing we want to do is check if the field is not empty. So let's do it if empty, And then let's give this input box a name first. So the name, I'll type city, and let's also name this. This will be submit, just like we have it here. Okay, so if empty post, then we have the name that we gave it, so city. Then you want to echo to the user that enter city name, else then the rest of the code should work. So the first thing we want to do in this else block is set city to the city name. Then we have a variable to hold the API key. And let me paste that. Just like this. And the next step is we need a way to get this data into our application. So we use the function file get content, just like this, and then we'll put the link to the API call. So this whole thing, I'll copy the URL and then I'll paste it here. Let me create a variable for that. I'll name this API. Format this. Okay, so with the key, we already have that declared in a variable, so I'll just type that API key. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so that in the file.get content, we just have to type the API variable, and let's set this to a variable called API data, and that's it. So this API data, we are getting the contents of the API link and putting it into this variable. So let's see what we have when we print that out. So print R and then API data, and let's save this and test this out. So I'll type London, check weather. Let's wait a while. So you can see this is appearing in JSON format. The way we have this is called JSON, JavaScript Object Notation. But even if we never typed anything and still click on check weather, like we type anything and click on check weather, it will still bring up London because the default API that I pasted the URL already has London as the city. So we need to change this to the city name that will be inputted by the user and received in the backend. So let's delete the London and then put the city, this right here. Okay, so this will rather equal to whatever that the user will type now. So now I will save this and then I'll type a different city like Mumbai and check it. You can see the temperature is 300, smoke, the pressure and everything. Let's try one more city. Okay, so it's working fine. The country PK, which means Pakistan, the temperature is 289 and all. Good. But we can work with this data because it's in JSON or JavaScript object notation. We need to convert this to PHP style. Alright, so there is a function for us, fortunately, that we can use. Okay, so this is called JSON decode. So let's name this weather and we'll set it to let's see, the JSON decode. And what do we want to decode? We want to decode this API. And this receives two parameters. The second is a boolean, so we'll set that to true and then click on save. Now I'll try, let me print it out. So this time around I'll print the weather instead. Save this, and now with the check weather I'll type a different city, say Lagos, and click on check weather. And you can see this time, no, it's not working. So print our API data. Okay, instead of comma I have a dot here. That's my mistake. So let's go once more, check weather, and you can see it's printed below now. They are the same thing, but this time around this is an associative array. It's in PHP style, so now we can work with this instead of this. Good. So with the information received, what I just need from this whole data is just the temperature and the description. That's all I want. I don't want anything else. So inside of my PHP, we can go grab that now. Let's comment this out. So now this variable is holding everything. So I have to type that. If I say echo weather, and now what do we want to access? We want to access the weather's weather. Okay. So in comma, another weather. Let's access the description and see if it's working nicely. So I'll reload this and I'll type Accra check weather. It says undefined await description on line 15. Let's see, weather. I think I need to bring the 0 before. So 0, just like this. So weather 0, and after 0 we have the description. Okay, they should work now. So reload this, F5, and the description is few clouds. That's what we get back. Okay, good. Now let's try one more. We'll access the temperature. So what we need to type first is the weather. That's the biggest array. Then the next one is main. So we have to type that too, main. And after main, then we have temp, which is temperature. So we have to type the temp, just like this. And then let's save this. So now if I type it again and click on check weather, I'll get the description of the weather and then the temperature. But this temperature is in Kelvin, so we need to convert it into degrees Celsius. or Fahrenheit or whatever one which is suitable. I'll use degrees Celsius. So here I'll have something to hold it, a variable name, something like Celsius, and I'll set this to this that we've just received, the temperature. And to convert from Kelvin to degrees Celsius, we need to minus the 1 in Kelvin by 273. So whatever temperature that we are getting, we are minusing it to 273 and putting it into the Celsius variable. So all we have to type in now is that Celsius variable. Okay, just like this. And we can even concatenate some text like degrees Celsius. Just like this. Let's add a line break. What's happening? Okay, now I'll cut this and paste it below the form. So start my PHP and hand it here and paste that just like that. And now we can save everything. So let's try it one more time. Washington, check the weather, and you can see we have overcast clouds with the degrees Celsius value, the temperature value. Very cold. All right, so that will be it for the weather app. You can start it as much as you want. You can also try and grab all the data and display it inside of it. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you like it. See you in the next one.